Folks, we are coming back to you once again. Future focused success for all children. Folks, we've been all across the country, you guys. I mean, we've been to New York. Man, we've been to, Oregon. We were in Phoenix last week. We were in New Jersey last week. And folks, we're going east all the way to Panama City. Central High School to really talk about what does future focused success look like at the high school level. Folks, I've got Desiree Barnes, I've got Jeremy Knapp. Jeremy is the principal there, Desiree is the assistant principal, and we're really going to be talking about what does future focused success. We've talked about it, what it looks like at the superintendency. We've talked about what it looks like at the executive cabinet level. We've talked about what it looks like at special populations. We talked about what it looks like at an alternative high school. Let's talk about what does it look like at a comprehensive high school in Panama City Central High School. Jeremy, Desiree, hey, thanks for participating in the podcast. Thanks for being a part of it. But I'm going to start with this one question. What are some amazing work? I mean, if you could think about some strategies that you guys are doing that are out of the box, because we know some major things are going on at Central High School. Talk with us about that, Jeremy. I want you to start us out, and then after that, Desiree, you give us a couple strategies, some initiatives that you guys are doing.
For us, it all comes down to where we begin with the kids, and our out of the box, right out of there, is that we don't focus on education first. We focus on the
Mm-hmm.
student first
Right.
because we're trying to solve those issues that are interfering with their education.
Right.
And it can be home life, it can be living situation, economic situation, things like that. And I realized 10 years ago when we opened that if we don't hit that piece first,
Mm-hmm.
we're not going to have success with our students. And so I've got a great staff that really dives into what the student needs and
Mm-hmm.
learns their background, learns what they've been through, learns the schools that they've been in. Homeschool. They've been into 9 high schools. They've been
Right.
in foster care. They're homeless. They're living in their car. If we can't figure that stuff out and figure out that this kid needs something to eat midday because they haven't eaten all night, we've got to make
Right.
sure we get breakfast. We've got to find the key components. We know that we can't get to the next spot, which is to help with the educational piece of it.
Definitely, definitely. You know what, man? If there's a theme, Jeremy, that we've been seeing all across the country. This really need to get a true understanding in building relationships with students, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think all across the country, like you can't even start with the educational piece until children, especially at the high school level, they feel like that you're connected and that you truly understand them, and that's even at the elementary level all the way to the high school level. So, what I really hear you saying is building that connection, building that relationship, opening and creating a place where children feel like they belong, right?
Yeah. And Desiree is excellent at having the hard conversations with the kids when it comes
That's it.
to the graduation piece and really getting into there. And she can lay that line and say, you've got to do this. You've got to change something.
That's it.
Uh, and she is phenomenal at that.
Yeah,
And
and with the as far as like relationship, we've seen because we've been to the dropout prevention conferences and we've seen
Hmm.
some of the schools implement we call it the Zen room. So it's a
Hmm.
place where students go, they chill. If they need 15 minutes, they didn't sleep last night, or they just need time to just kind of decompress. And that room, we have seen a lot of success, and very proud of that room. But I do want to address or talk about the one strategy that may seem very strange or odd, and it's the light. We have push lights on our walls in all of our classrooms, and we've noticed that some of our students, they struggle with asking for help. They don't want to raise their hand. They want to be the student that says, hey, pick me, I need help. And so there's this Mr. Knapp purchased these push lights that go on all the walls for each student, and when they need help, you'll walk in the room and you'll just see lights, and the teachers will go to each student one by one
I
and
love
address
it.
whatever need that may be. And that could be academic help. That could be, I need the Zen room. That could be, I need to go talk to someone. It could address a lot of different issues, but we have found great success on just that simple strategy of putting a light on the wall, push light on the wall for our students.
I love that, folks. Right now, it's 17 degrees in Texas. I need a Zen room right now, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. If I could get me a push light, give me a cup of coffee right now, y'all, I'd be great, right? Think about in a school where children feel like, listen, there's a place I can go to when, hey, I'm having a bad day and I can calm down. And like you said, Desiree, kids, they don't want to raise their hand. They don't want to bring that level of tension to themselves. What if I'm just able to just push a light and show that, listen, I need some help right now, right? I like that push light concept, right? We've been all across the country. Nobody's talking about the push light concept. Definitely, definitely. Go ahead, Jeremy.
And I think that's the key is that, over the years, I've been an administrator for over 20 years, and you get into the places where you do it because it's always been done,
Right.
and people are afraid to take chances and failing. Desiree and I have failed at numerous things. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have had initiatives. We thought, man, this is going to be the next greatest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where this is really going to work. And a week or two later, we look at it and go, well, this did not go the direction we initially thought it was going to go.
Right.
And then that's okay. You have to experience that and go, it's okay to fail, even as administrators and staff, that things aren't always going to work out. But you have to be
Right.
willing to take the chance and say, but what if it does? What
Right.
would be the impact if this really works? And
I love that.
Desiree has been going through that a lot this year with our students because we use Edmentum online, so our curriculum is online,
Mm-hmm.
and the students are required to work on a program called Study Island, and they despise it. They hate it.
Yeah,
They loathe it.
study
But
hour. Mhm.
but it's one of those things that Desiree it helps them, and she knows that.
Mhm.
And she has spent a lot of time on that one-on-one communications on explaining why this is important and why it's going to help them in the future, how it's going to help them get through high school, what it's going to do,
Mhm.
and all that pushback. And so that's the other piece. You have to stand behind whatever you implement and see it through for a little while.
Right. Right. I like that. There are two pieces that, I kind of took from that. I think the relationship piece that you talked about, I think it was strong. But then this is a time where leaders don't feel like they can take risks, right? Everybody's a little uncomfortable with taking risks. But if there's no risk, there's no reward, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let's do something new, let's do something different, let's take a risk. And then another thing you said was, then let's see it through. A lot of times we take risks, and the first thing that goes wrong, what do? Oh, it's over with. We got to go back. We got to go back to the way it used to be, right? But taking risks and then seeing that process through, and then learning from it, whether it's successful or not, right? Sometimes it's almost like we want everything to be successful, but we don't understand that sometimes things, we learn from our successes as well as our mistakes, right? So, but the first thing that you got to do is you got to take a risk, right? So, folks, one thing that Desiree also talked about was the conferencing, right? The PD, actually bringing everyone together all across the nation to really, really talk about how can we use different strategies to help all of our children. And when we talk about all, I'm talking about big A, big L, capital, all children, right? Folks, in October, we're going to be at the National Dropout Prevention Center Conference, right? Jeremy, Desiree, they're going to be there, right? They've been there for years, right? They've been there for years. Folks, this is really an opportunity for you to come in and really get some strategies, right? We talked about the Zen room. We talked about the push light. We talked about different ways for you to say, you know what? I kind of like that. I think I'm going to try that when I get back to my campus, right? I think I'm going to try that when I get back to my district, folks. Folks, it's going to be in October. Dropout Prevention Conference. Make sure you're there. Jeremy, Desiree, thank you guys so much for participating. Thank you guys so much for the strategies. And folks, if you're going east and you're going to Florida and you're going to Panama City, you better stop by Central
We love to
High
have
School, right? You better go in there and ask Jeremy and Desiree for a cup of coffee and see some of that great work that's going on down there. So, hey, folks, thank you so much for participating in our podcast this morning. And hey, folks, we'll see you guys in October.